Hello, my name is Michael Gagnon and I am the Awkward Catholic. Today's anonymous question from the anonymous questions box in my teen room is, what is afterlife? Well, I believe afterlife is no, that's Second Life. Second Life is a video game. Afterlife is something that happens to us after this life. As a Catholic, what we believe is that the life after this one is not shadow life, but rather the fullness of life. That we are going to be experiencing eternal union with God in heaven. That eternal, intimate, physical and spiritual union with God. And the closest analogy we have to that, in fact, is if you really want to know what it's like, it's the honeymoon. It's a wedding night. You know, in fact, over St. Peter's, it's a little awkward, but over St. Peter's, when you realize this, the main altar in the main church, the Catholic Church in the Vatican, has a huge canopy over the main altar. That canopy is a reference to the marriage bed. And so when we receive communion, that heaven and earth are united. Our body and soul is united to Christ's body and soul in an intimate act, so intimate as only can be compared to the wedding night, the marital embrace between husband and wife. And so that is what the afterlife is. It's the fullness of life. God is, He simply is, He is life. And so when we enter into, the closer we get to God, the closer we get to God in our life here on earth, the more fully alive we are. Just look at the saints, look at the lives of the saints, and look at the joy they had, and the excitement, and the fullness of life they had, right? And the further and further away we get from God, the closer we become to death. I mean, look at people who live their lives completely separated from God, who live their lives completely for themselves and selfishness, right? And what does that lead to? That leads to isolation and depression, despair, suffering, and grief, right? But a life lived closer to God is one fullness of life. And so the afterlife, after this life, after this shadow life, we enter into the fullness of life, the fullness of joy, right? Because we are united to He who is life itself. So it's kind of like the afterlife. Side note, I do believe that there's going to be hot and now Krispy Kreme donuts in heaven. There kind of needs to be, you know. Oh, and Jamocha shakes from Arby's. There's got to be Jamocha shakes from Arby's in heaven. Because, I mean, what would life be without those two things, right? Anyways, my name is Michael Gagnon, and I am the Awkward Catholic.